This is actually related to a lot of the stuff that Trump has been talking about today and the last couple days, and it's about the ceasefire negotiation, which seems to be on and then off and then on and then off constantly. Considering that they've already said that they have like 3 weeks of very heavy bombing planned and they would like to eliminate the missile cities and everything, do you think the negotiations are more or less a smokescreen and a way for Trump to be able to say, look, I had to because they're unreasonable and wouldn't make a deal? Or do you think that he's really trying to get a ceasefire and get the people to rise up sooner?
Okay, so this depends on how much people are, pro-Trump or anti-Trump or pro-Trump, but they're not going to say like, "Oh, everything was always planned ahead of time and everything is, I don't know, 4D chess or stuff like that." So I think the proper answer is that we don't know. I'm completely willing to accept, and I think it's not unlikely that President Trump really wants to negotiate with these people. uh, I know a lot of people who want to talk about the fact that, oh, everything is based on the best intelligence and that always all the decisions are 100% true. Um, I mean, I understand that narrative, and I understand that's why that narrative might be even helpful, especially when you need to be promoting the people who are carrying out the military operations, because we in the middle of a war, you need to promote the people who are doing this. To me, based on what I've seen, because I used to follow Trump when I was a teenager many years ago as an apprentice. To me, he's just always wants a deal. Like, he really loves a deal. He just loves a deal, right? And I don't think a deal is possible with these people. But it doesn't really matter if this is like a 40 chess move or not, because if, like, let's say for example, the narrative that, okay, this is just for buying, like, there's multiple utilities to this. There's multiple benefits to this, right? One of them is that it shows that internationally, you could show that we try to make a deal with them, and you're exposing them as unreasonable. You're also buying time. You're also confusing the enemy. You're also making them feel like there's a way out, and then bam, you hit them. The thing is that whether this is for the chess move or not, the results are the results of what you would get from a 4D chess move, right? So who really cares if the what was the thinking behind it if you're getting the same results, right? Um, so yeah, what do you think, by the way?
Well, a big part of why I'm asking this is because I guess a few days ago he told a news outlet that some Iranians are worried that the US will stop before finishing the job and they shouldn't worry.
Yes.
And so to me, I'm like, and I said this a few days ago, and then Goldie made the same point, and I was so happy because if Goldie came to the same conclusion as I did, then I'm like, okay, now I feel good about this. But, and I said, like, I've noticed that Trump usually has this way of talking that's very rambling and everything, but the night that he said, when we're done, your nation will be yours to take, he was speaking a different way that just felt more like sincere or something to me.
Hmm.
And I still kind of think that is his goal, is to make it so that the regime is so weak that the Iranians can just take it. So if there is a
I
deal, I
consider
think he sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, I consider all of it, almost all of it sincere. And I don't think he sees a country like me, like, well, okay, maybe he doesn't see a contradiction between doing it. Well, first of all, a deal could be a deal for surrender, which wouldn't contradict staying until the very end, until the Iranian people are free, right? If a deal is a deal for surrender. And even if he doesn't see it as a deal for surrender, effectively it will turn out that way if he keeps insisting on the things that he's insisting on. If he doesn't basically back down on the things that he wants, then it doesn't even matter if he considers this to be a surrender or not. It will end up being a surrender, and we will be able to do the rest of the job ourselves. Does that make sense? Right. So for example, there's certain things that President Trump says that it's not true, but it doesn't matter, right? As long as he keeps on insisting the things that he's insisting on, right? So for example, he says regime change has already happened. Regime change hasn't happened. Regime change has not happened, right? But that doesn't matter that he says that, because he continues to insist on these people surrendering on the points that he always asks for, right? And that's we want him to continue to do that, whatever his understanding is. He keeps saying that these people who are left are more reasonable, well, they're less radical. And he also suggested that they are probably are the type of people who would not kill the Iranian people if this new regime, as he puts it, is in power. That is the opposite. These people are more willing to kill the Iranian people, and they are, I mean, by Western like description, they're more radical. Khamenei had a moderating role on these people. Okay, Khamenei was the person who hold their leash and hold them back whenever they need to. So these people are more crazy than Khamenei. So that's not true. But again, it doesn't matter that he says that, because to us it's just like he just keeps hitting them, right? He just keeps hitting them, and as long as he keeps on the same path that we are, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's like it doesn't really matter. Just keep going. Like this is fantastic. Just keep going that way. So, it's very important that Iranians don't get distracted by some of these things that they don't like hearing, because we're going in the right direction. So let him just say those things. It doesn't right? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I keep having to mute my microphone. So, but yes, I mean that
Yeah.
totally makes sense, and like that was kind of why I put off my question, because I was like, this probably doesn't have a great answer, and it probably doesn't matter too much. But I was just curious what you thought.
And again, if you want to go with the 4D chess narrative, it works. It works here because you could be like, oh, does Trump does he not know, or does he know and he's messing with their head? Doesn't really matter, because it is messing with their head. The effect is that it's messing with their head, and it's the confusing the shit out of them. So it's good. The result is good, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, to be fair, they also said the same thing about Obama, that he was also playing a 4D chess narrative back when he was in the office. So, yeah, it constantly repeats itself, even though I think I remember reading somewhere in the. I think I remember reading somewhere online that Obama mainly had a sort of moderating role between the Democrats and the Republicans when he was in power, which is why his rhetoric constantly seemed to shift. I imagine that the same thing is true of Trump, that he also has several components within the Republican Party that he needs to keep track of.